British people are basically mind readers, or at least we expect you to be. The thing is, in the UK, asking for something directly is often seen as a bit too pushy or even a little bit demanding. We have a massive social habit of disguising our requests as observations or casual questions. It's a completely different way of communicating than what you'll find in most other cultures. It's not that we're trying to be difficult, we just have a tiny obsession with not being a hassle. We want the other person to want to help us, rather than being told to. So, today I'm taking you through 10 common phrases that sound like casual observations, but are actually firm requests. Are you ready to become a mind reader? Let's jump in. Chapter 1: At home. Let's start with life at home. If you're sitting on the sofa with a British friend, let's call her Molly, she might say, "Is it cold in here to you?" Now, on the surface, this is just a question about the temperature, isn't it? Wrong. It means close the window or turn the heating up. British people find it very hard to say, "Can you close the window?" because that sounds like a command. By asking if you are cold, Molly is checking if you agree with her. It's a way of making the decision mutual. If you just say, "No, I'm fine," and leave the window open, you failed the first test of British mind reading. Another classic is, "It's getting a bit dark in here, isn't it?" Again, look at that question tag at the end. Isn't it? We love those. Molly isn't just commenting on the time of day. Actually, she is asking you to turn the light on. It's a very soft way of pointing out that she can't see what she's doing. To be honest with you, this is a phrase I use all the time when I'm too lazy to get up myself. If you hear this one, just go ahead and reach for the switch. Chapter 2: Making tea. We can't talk about British requests without talking about tea. It is the lifeblood of this country. But even here, we are incredibly indirect. Let's start with the phrase, "I am parched." Parched is a word you'll hear all the time in the UK. It basically means that your mouth and throat feel very dry because you really need a drink. It's our way of saying we are very thirsty. So, if a Brit says to you, "I'm a bit parched," they aren't just giving you a medical update on their hydration levels. To be honest, it's an invitation. By announcing that they are a bit parched, a Brit is giving you a small window of opportunity to be a hero and offer to put the kettle on or get them a glass of water. Now, what if they hear you in the kitchen? You might hear a voice from the living room saying, "Is that the kettle I hear?" I mean, really, they know it's the kettle. They have excellent hearing when it comes to boiling water. This is just an indirect request that means, "Make me a cup of tea as well while you're at it." This is a clever way for them to join in on what you're already doing. It's efficient, it's polite, and it's completely British. Chapter 3: The office. Let's move into the workplace. This is where indirectness becomes a professional art form. Imagine your manager, John, pops over to your desk and drops this little phrase into the conversation. If you have a spare minute. For example, John might say, if you have a spare minute, could you have a look at this report for me? You need to be careful because this one is dangerous. In British English, when a manager asks if you have a spare minute, they aren't always curious about your schedule. Depending on the kind of boss you have, this could very well just be a polite way of saying, stop what you're doing and do this task for me right now. If John wants to ask for something, he might start with, I was wondering if. I just love the way this phrase works. It makes a request sound like a hypothetical thought that just happened to pop into his head. For example, I was wondering if you'd be able to lead the meeting on Tuesday. In reality, he's already decided you're doing it. The wondering is just pretty packaging to make the instruction feel like a choice. It's a very clever way to lead without being bossy. Chapter 4. Food. This is where British politeness gets really intense. Food is a social minefield in the UK, especially when we're trying not to look greedy, which for some reason is really shameful in the UK. Is it the same in your culture? Let me know in the comments. I'm so curious. The first word you need to know here is peckish. This is a very British way to say, I am a bit hungry. But when a Brit says, I'm starting to feel a bit peckish, they aren't just sharing a physical sensation. They are actually asking about the logistics of the next meal. Basically, it means, I want to eat now, and I'm checking if you've actually planned for that and if you're hungry too. It's a gentle nudge to find out if food is on the horizon. If Daisy tells you she's peckish while you're out for a walk, she's really asking if it's time to head to a cafe. She wants to know if you're on the same page about the timing and the plan. If you ignore it and keep walking for another hour, you are going to have a very grumpy friend on your hands. But the ultimate British food trap is this question. Does anyone want the last piece of cake? Now, you have to be so careful here. If a Brit asks this, they aren't being generous. The thing is, they are probably hoping with all their heart that everyone says no. They want to tuck into that final piece themselves, but British law dictates we cannot be seen as greedy, so we are legally required to offer it to the group first. If you respond with, oh yeah, I'll have it, you haven't just taken a piece of cake. You have literally ruined that person's day. To be honest, you might have ruined their whole week. They will smile at you. They might even say, oh, go on then, enjoy it. But inside, they are crying. The correct British response is to say, no, you have it. And then sometimes you both spend 10 minutes arguing about who deserves the cake more until eventually it gets cut into tiny, tiny pieces that nobody can even enjoy. Chapter 5, Leaving. Finally, we have the ultimate conversation enders. We have two very common phrases that sound incredibly thoughtful but carry a very different meaning. The first is, I don't want to keep you. You'll hear this at the end of a phone call or a chat on the street. It sounds so thoughtful, doesn't it? It sounds like Thomas is worried about wasting your time. But it almost always means I am done with this conversation and I would like to leave now. It's a way of ending the interaction while pretending they're doing you a favor. It's the polite way to escape. If someone says this to you, don't say, "Oh, I'm not in a rush," and keep talking. That would be a massive social mistake. The second one is, "I'll let you get on then." This works in exactly the same way. It frames the departure as an act of kindness towards you. By saying they'll let you get on, they are saying your time is valuable and they are leaving so you can be productive. Actually, they just want to go home and watch TV. If you hear either of these, just say, "Oh, is that the time? I'd better get on," and walk away with your dignity intact. There you have it. You're officially a British mind reader. Honestly, once you start noticing these indirect requests, you'll see them everywhere. If you found this helpful, please give the show a follow. It really does help me to bring more content like this to you. And don't forget to sign up to my free newsletter. The link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.